everybody, it's me, Jumblefluff, here again for another Monster Girl video. If you're new to the channel, I've been working on drawing some Monster Girls, and this will be, I think, our 5th entry. I could be wrong. But today I'm going to be drawing a Swamp Monster Girl. Originally, I was thinking I wanted to draw a mermaid because it is mermaid for all of those who are interested in art challenges. But then I thought I wanted to put a twist on it, so I was like, what other animal could I mix my mermaid with? And I came up with like an alligator or crocodile. And then once I put the crocodile parts on, I thought, well, that's not really a mermaid anymore, is it? It's a lot more of a swamp monster, so that's what I've decided to go with instead. And so I was really excited to get started on the character once I got this idea. I was really excited to take inspiration from the colors of a swamp. They have a lot of like greens, a lot of blues and yellows, so kind of like an analogous color scheme. So I thought it would work really well for a character design. I was really excited to take inspiration from crocodiles and alligators as well because like I'm a nerd who loves to learn about new animals and stuff, so I always like learning about new animals. And I think that crocodiles or alligators have a lot of really interesting features that could lend themselves to character design as well. So I'm sure you saw I already got all my preliminary sketches done. I kept things really loose in my sketching stage, which is good and bad because you'll see later that I have to do a lot more refining before I actually get to coloring. When I'm doing line work, and also even when I start adding colors, I keep going back and forth between colors and lines, and it's not a straightforward process, which I don't mind, but I don't know if other people mind. It's maybe not the most efficient, but I'm not always the most efficient at art in general. I kind of like taking things slow. I think it's fun to enjoy the process and just kind of making decisions and thinking things through, but especially coming into these last 3 sketches, this second layer is definitely more of a second sketch layer than like line work. It's really sketchy with, you know, thick, uneven lines and everything, but I don't mind that. I really like my line work kind of sketchy looking still. I find that when I try to make my line work look really tidy, I just can't stand it. I feel like it loses a lot of kind of expression that way. And I'm sure that's just because I neglect to practice line work as much as I practice, you know, other aspects of drawing. It's just not my favorite. You know, you think that eventually you might stop hating doing it, but I still kind of hate doing it. So I just like doing it like sketchier line work, and it's not as torturous for my brain. To choose this character's colors, I just looked at some photography of swamps and did some color picking and drew my colors straight from the source. So I thought that that would work really well for this character because she is kind of like camouflaged this way, so she can hide in the seagrass. I guess not seagrass because she's a freshwater creature. So algae, I guess. Hide in the lily pads, whatever. I'm not really sure exactly. Reeds, stuff like that. Just kind of general water foliage. So I thought that would be really cool. I also wanted her hair to kind of mimic water grass as well. So I went with this like dark olive green color. And I think that her hair turned out pretty cool. But it's kind of funny because I almost didn't give her hair at all. I thought it would also be interesting if she was, you know, bald, because she's got these like ridges on her head and down her back. That's to mimic a alligator or a crocodile. So I thought it would be kind of cool if she had no hair and those were more prominent. But at the end of the day, I thought that if I gave her hair, the poses looked more dynamic because she could have a lot of movement in her hair. So I think it turned out okay, but I also think it would have turned out interesting with no hair too. So a little bit about this character now that we're into coloring her. Her name is Crocodehlia. So her name is, obviously derived from crocodile. I keep saying that she's maybe a crocodile or alligator. I did look more so at crocodile features, I think. I looked at a lot of both, but I thought that because she is kind of an alligator or crocodile, that maybe the place where she's from is the Everglades, because that's one of the places where you could find either crocodiles or alligators. Because most places there's only crocodiles. I think the only alligators are in the US and China. But in the Everglades, they have American crocodiles and American alligators. So it's one of the few places that you could find both. So I think that would be an interesting kind of place for her to come from. To give her some alligator features, I wanted to make sure that she's in the water. She's got a really wide mouth with jagged teeth that kind of overlap her lips. She's also got the little ridges on her head and back. She also has a tail, and her legs. I had a little bit of a hard time exactly deciding what's going on with her legs. Like, is this skin and she's not wearing any pants, or are these leggings? But I think that she's like a mermaid, so this would be her actual body. So I don't know. I thought about putting swim trunks on top of her legs over the alligator skin, but I thought that would be kind of weird too. So I wasn't really 100% sure how to resolve that situation. So a little bit later, I added some nets over the top of her leggings or legs, whichever they are exactly. And I hope that kind of maybe camouflages the situation. So it's like, not sure if she should be wearing pants because now she's pantsless. I definitely see Crocodehlia being more of a tomboy. She's pretty athletic. She's like fearless. She loves swimming and adventure. But also I think maybe she's a little bit lonely. So I drew one pose of her being kind of like melancholy. But the other ones I feel like are mostly looking like, I don't know, taunting or smug or something. Like she's trying to get you to come swim with her, play with her in the water or something. So in the scheme of my monster girls, they're all kind of in a talent show or, I don't know, variety show, circus, burlesque. I'm really not sure at this point what their deal is, but I know that they're entertainers and they travel together and they each have their own special talent. So we've got like a couple of dancers, a singer, a contortionist, and now I think that Crocodehlia would probably have some skill related to swimming. So maybe she's a diver or a synchronized swimmer. Those would be the two options, I think. I kind of like the idea of her being a diver because I feel like in old-timey circuses, they would have like those teeny tiny pools for people to dive into. So I think that would be kind of fun. I don't really think that a synchronized swimming pool would be something that they would have had. But, I don't think they had alligator monster girls either. But, just for my own brain thinking, I think that she's a diver performer. I also like the idea of people thinking that she's mean. Like she gives off angry vibes because, people tend to think that alligators are mean or crocodiles are mean. Like they're the bad guys in a fair amount of Disney cartoons, I think. Like Captain Hook, and I feel like there's a bad alligator in the Robin Hood Disney with the fox. Maybe not. But I think in real life, alligators and crocodiles, I don't think they really care that much about people to be like a threat or anything. I think they're pretty much always just minding their own business. So that's what I kind of thought that Crocodile is like. That she wants to make friends, but everyone thinks that she's mean and scary. So she spends a lot of time alone, even though she would rather be more outgoing and make friends and stuff. But then whenever she joins up with the Monster girl group, she kind of feels like finally she has a place to fit in. So that's kind of the direction I was thinking for that. Um, I spent some time experimenting with the legs to see how we could get kind of a crocodile skin texture onto her legs. The crocodiles seem to have kind of like a rounded rectangular scales, so I wanted to kind of incorporate both of the shapes into it. I also wanted to kind of have like a gradient downward, so I used these scales to kind of transition from one color to the next. So I would use the darker colors in a rounded shape on top of the squarer shape of the solid colors. And I was hoping that this would give the impression of dimension. So hopefully that worked. I think that they jumped around a lot as I was rendering out these different details on the characters. So I jumped around doing their horns and their hair and their little ridges or spikes on their back as well. And also their legging pants deals. And I wanted to make sure to put in some more reptilian features, so you can see that I working with the green and the yellowish colors to kind of blend her into a swampy environment. So at this point, I decided that she was missing something, and I added this little net around her waist. I wasn't really sure what to add. I kind of looked at pictures of other swamp monsters, like the Thing. The Thing always has a bunch of plants and stuff, so I thought that might be a good starting place. So I ended up drawing a lot of like green bloppy grass type stuff. And I wanted to add some flowers, so I googled some flowers that grow in the swamp, and there are some yellow swamp sunflowers or something like that. So I added some of those to the look as well. So overall, I had a lot of fun drawing Crocodehlia. I think that she's a fun character who has like kind of two sides of her personality where she's fun-loving and excitable, but she's also sad because she also can have a tendency to make people feel uneasy. Pretty cool. Um, Let me know if you have any ideas for my next monster girl. So far, we've done a Gorgon, a Sasquatch, a Phoenix, a Slime Girl, and now a Swamp Girl. So we have 5 done, and I'm hoping to do 13. So I need 8 more ideas. So if you have any ideas, definitely let me know in the comments. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I know I enjoyed putting it together. Let me know what you think of Crocodehlia. I hope that you're having a great day, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.